The morning arrived cold enough to freeze the bucket beside the door. Marta Kowalska stepped outside carrying wood against her chest while goat bells rang faintly beyond the fence. Smoke climbed from the chimney, thin and pale against the dark mountain sky. "Lena, close the gate," her mother called from inside. "The goats will wander again." "They always come back," Lena answered, laughing as she chased one from the cabbage patch. "They come back because your father repairs that fence every week," Marta said. Pyotr stood near the forest edge, hammer in hand, shoulders bent under an old coat. Without turning, he said, "And because your sister forgets every latch in the village." Lena smiled. "Not every latch." Their mother folded letters beside the oil lamp near the window. "Bring those inside before your fingers freeze," she said to Marta. Marta entered and placed the wood near the stove. She noticed the same old letters again, tied with faded string. "Why do you read them every morning?" Marta asked. Her mother touched the top envelope carefully. "Because paper remembers voices." Lena leaned over the table. "Is that Uncle Stefan again?" Their mother nodded. Pyotr entered, boots carrying frost. "He wrote before the last war took him," Pyotr said quietly. Lena lowered her eyes. "Will this war reach here too?" Pyotr removed his gloves slowly. "No one invites war. It enters when roads stay open too long." The room fell silent except for the stove cracking. At noon, Marta carried bread toward the well. Two women stood near the road whispering. "I heard trucks crossed now a village," one said. "German?" the other asked. "Who else moves that loudly?" Marta slowed her steps. The older woman noticed her. "Tell your father the road should stay empty after dark." When Marta returned, Tomasz stood outside their house with books under his arm and snow on his coat. Pyotr opened the gate. "You came early." Tomasz glanced toward the valley. School ended before noon. "Why?" "Because children cannot read while mothers wait at windows." Marta set the bread down. "You saw something." Tomasz hesitated. "Two patrols near the southern bridge," he said. "German helmets. They asked where the mountain road leads." Lena came to the doorway. "Did they ask about this village?" "They asked about every village." Their mother whispered, "Maybe they passed through." Tomasz shook his head. "Soldiers who ask about barns and wells do not pass through." Pyotr looked toward the forest. "How many?" "6 on bicycles. More behind them, I think." Lena gripped Marta's sleeve. "They cannot stay here," Lena said. "They stay where roads allow," Tomasz answered. At supper, no one spoke for several minutes. The spoon in Lena's hand shook against the bowl. Finally Marta asked, "If they come, what do they want first?" Tomasz answered before Pyotr could speak. "Food. Obedience." "And if they do not get it?" Marta asked. Pyotr looked at his daughter carefully. "Then they take something else." Lena pushed her bowl away. "I do not want soldiers here." "No one does," their mother said. Outside, wind moved against the shutters. Tomasz reached into his coat and placed folded paper on the table. Pyotr opened it. A rough map. "Mountain routes." Pyotr asked. "Old shepherd paths," Tomasz said. "The school caretaker showed me years ago." "Why bring this now?" "Because roads matter when armies arrive." Marta watched Pyotr fold the paper again. "We are not fighters," their mother said. Tomasz answered softly, "No village says that forever." After supper, Lena sat near the stove repairing a torn glove. She looked at Marta. "Will they wear black uniforms?" "I do not know." "I saw one once in a newspaper," Lena whispered. "He looked like stone." Marta forced a smile. "Paper makes everyone colder." Later, night covered the valley. Marta woke when floorboards creaked. She stepped into the front room. Pyotr sat beside the oil lamp holding an old photograph. His brother stood in uniform there, young and serious, frozen forever in faded gray. "You should sleep," Marta said. Pyotr did not look up. He was younger than Tomasz when he left. Marta sat opposite him. "You never speak about him." There was never a useful ending to tell. He placed the photograph beside the lamp. "Did he know he would die?" Marta asked. Pyotr exhaled slowly. "No soldier knows. Families learn first. Marta stared at the photograph. Do you think war reaches us tomorrow? Pyotr looked toward the dark window. War never stays far for long. His voice carried no anger, only certainty. From upstairs Lena called sleepily, Marta? I am here, Marta answered. Their mother appeared in the doorway. Come to bed. Morning comes quickly. Before dawn, Marta woke again. At first she thought thunder rolled below the mountain. Then the sound deepened. Engines. Heavy. Mechanical. Growing closer. Pyotr was already standing near the window. Lena hurried downstairs barefoot. What is that? No one answered immediately. The engines climbed the lower road, echoing through frozen air. Tomasz appeared outside, running toward their gate. He shouted before reaching the door. They are here. Marta moved beside her father. Below the valley, dark trucks emerged through morning mist. Steel helmets caught pale light. Lena whispered, How many? Pyotr's jaw tightened. Too many. The first truck turned toward the church road. The second followed. Marta felt her heart strike hard against her ribs as the engines entered the village and the quiet morning disappeared. Before noon, the first truck stopped beside the church, and the second blocked the road near the well. German boots struck frozen mud while villagers stood in doorways, silent and pale. Everyone outside, a soldier shouted in broken Polish. Now. Pyotr opened the gate slowly. Stay close, he told Marta and Lena. Their mother pulled a scarf tighter around her neck. Do not speak unless asked. Officer Eric Falk stepped down from the first truck with leather gloves and a clean gray coat. He studied the church bell, then the houses, then the people gathering near the square. Names first, Falk said. Then supplies. A soldier opened a notebook. Falk pointed toward Pyotr. Name. Pyotr Kowalski. Occupation. Farmer. Falk looked at Marta. She is your daughter? Yes. Both. Yes. Lena lowered her eyes. Falk turned toward the notebook. Food stores. Potatoes. Flour. Some goats, Pyotr answered. Amounts. Pyotr hesitated. Falk stepped closer. Amounts. Enough for winter, Pyotr said quietly. Falk's face hardened. Winter belongs to the army now. Marta felt Lena's fingers close around her sleeve. At the church steps, Tomasz stood beside two villagers. Falk pointed again. Teacher. Tomasz answered calmly, Tomasz Zielinski. You speak German? A little. But you explain rules. One soldier handed Tomasz a paper. Falk spoke without raising his voice. All radios surrendered by sunset. All hunting rifles surrendered now. No movement after dark. Any hidden food becomes theft against the army. An elderly farmer near the well lifted a trembling hand. My son took our radio months ago, he said slowly. The soldier writing names frowned. What? Falk asked. The old man repeated himself, slower. Before he finished, another soldier struck him across the face with a rifle stock. He fell against the well. Lena gasped. Their mother whispered, Do not move. Marta looked toward the younger German standing behind Falk. His helmet sat crooked, and his hands tightened around his rifle, but he did nothing. Falk stared at the fallen farmer. Anyone who answers slowly wastes military time, he said. The younger soldier bent and helped the old man sit upright. Falk noticed. Brenner, he said sharply. Back in line. Karl Brenner stepped away at once. Yes, sir. Marta caught his eyes for a second. He looked away. Falk continued. Sleeping quarters. Schoolhouse first. 2 houses near the church second. A woman cried out, Children sleep there. Falk answered, Children sleep elsewhere. Tomasz unfolded the paper and read aloud in Polish, his voice controlled. He says all food must be counted before evening. He says no one leaves the village without permission. Pyotr murmured. He enjoys hearing fear translated. Marta whispered. The young soldier looked ashamed. Pyotr answered. Ashamed hands still carry rifles. By afternoon, soldiers entered houses carrying sacks. 2 came into the Kowalski home. One pointed at the shelves. Bread. Flour. Their mother handed over both without argument. The second soldier opened drawers and lifted blankets. Lena stood near the stove, silent. When he touched the letters near the lamp, Marta stepped forward. They are old family papers. He glanced at them, then dropped them back carelessly. Outside, shouting rose near the barn. Pyotr moved toward the door, but Marta caught his sleeve. "Do not give them a reason," she whispered. At sunset, the church square filled again. A small pile of radios lay near Falk's boots. He counted them slowly. "One missing," he said. No one answered. Falk looked at Tomasz. "Ask again." Tomasz spoke to the crowd. "If anyone still has one, bring it now." Silence. Falk nodded toward Karl. "Search the widow's house." Karl hesitated only a moment before obeying. The widow stood crying as he entered. Minutes later he returned carrying nothing. "No radio, sir." Falk studied him. "You checked properly?" "Yes, sir." Falk stared longer, then turned away. "Then someone lies elsewhere." Night arrived early. German soldiers carried blankets and crates into the schoolhouse. Lantern light filled classroom windows. Marta crossed the road with water buckets when Tomasz appeared beside the fence. "Did they take your map?" she asked softly. "No." "Where is it?" "Not in my house." She lowered her voice. "Are there still mountain paths?" "Yes." "Safe ones?" "Safe enough for feet that know silence." Behind them, Karl emerged from the schoolhouse carrying firewood. He slowed when he heard voices. Tomasz changed tone instantly. "The church roof still leaks," he said louder. Marta answered, "Father will fix it when snow ends." Karl passed without speaking, but his jaw tightened. From inside the schoolhouse, Falk called, "Brenner." Karl turned sharply. "Coming, sir." Later, Marta closed the shutters while Boots moved outside. Lena sat near the bed. "Will they stay many days?" she asked. Their mother answered first. "Sleep." Lena looked at Marta instead. They changed the sound of the village. Marta listened to German voices and one truck engine still ticking as it cooled. "Yes," she said quietly. "And they want us to hear it all night." Above the stove smoke gathered slowly, and Marta watched her mother hide trembling hands be. Morning came without birdsong. Marta woke when fists struck the neighbor's door across the road. "Search again," a German voice shouted. Lena sat upright. They started before sunrise. Their mother moved quickly to the shelf. "Hide the letters." Pyotr took one envelope from the tied bundle before she could reach it. "Not this one," he said. Marta recognized the old paper immediately. The resistance letter from Pyotr's brother had remained folded for years beneath family things no one touched. Boots sounded outside their gate. Pyotr pressed the letter into Marta's hand. "Now," he whispered. She dropped beside the stove, lifted the loose board near the wall, and slid the paper into darkness just as the door opened. Two soldiers entered first. Officer Falk followed. "Everyone away from the table," Falk ordered. A soldier overturned a chair. Another opened drawers, throwing spoons and cloth onto the floor. Lena backed against her mother. One soldier tore blankets from the bed. Falk watched Pyotr. "Any new memory today?" Pyotr answered carefully. "Of what?" "Mountain trails. I told you before. Farmers use lower roads." Falk stepped toward him. "Old roads exist above the forest. For shepherds years ago." "Names of those paths?" Pyotr shook his head. "Snow covers paths." Falk's expression stayed cold. "Snow does not erase memory." A soldier lifted the bread cloth. "Only bread, sir." Another opened the chest and found winter coats. Falk looked toward Marta. "You look frightened." She forced herself to answer. "Your men broke our chair." A faint sound came from Lena before their mother squeezed her hand. Falk ignored the reply. He walked to the stove, Boots inches from the loose board. Marta felt heat rise behind her eyes. If he bent once, he would see it. Instead he looked up at the shelf. Family photographs? Their mother nodded. He picked one up, glanced at it, then dropped it onto the floor. Too many dead faces in every village. Outside, another shout came from the road. Falk turned sharply. "Continue search." The soldiers left with him. Marta waited until the boots faded. Only then did Lena breathe fully. He almost stood on it, she whispered. Pyotr closed the door. He did more than almost. Their mother knelt beside the scattered photographs. They searched like they already know something. Pyotr looked toward the window but said nothing. Near noon, villagers were forced into the square again while soldiers searched the remaining houses. A young soldier dragged sacks from the widow's barn. Another kicked apart wood near the church wall. Lena bent suddenly. My photograph. A picture had slipped from her pocket, her and Marta beside summer hay, taken before war reached nearby valleys. Before she could reach it, another soldier stepped on it with muddy boots. Leave it, their mother whispered. But Karl Brenner stopped beside the crushed photograph. He looked around once, bent, lifted it carefully, and brushed mud from the paper with his glove. He handed it to Lena without speaking. For 1 second Lena forgot fear. Thank you, she whispered. Karl's eyes shifted toward Falk standing near the truck. He walked away immediately. Marta watched him until he disappeared beside the church wall. Pyotr noticed. Do not mistake manners for safety. He did not need to stop, Marta said. No soldier needs many things, Pyotr answered. Falk approached moments later. He pointed toward Pyotr. You come here. Pyotr stepped forward. Falk unfolded a rough military map. Forest Ridge. Which trail reaches the northern pass? Pyotr studied the paper only briefly. I do not know that side. Falk tapped the map harder. You live here. I farm below the ridge. Falk leaned closer. Men from nearby villages vanished last month. They crossed mountains. Men do not vanish without guides. Pyotr answered, then ask the mountains. Falk's jaw tightened. For a moment Marta thought he would strike him. Instead Falk folded the map. You speak like a man protecting distance. I speak like a farmer. You speak too carefully. Karl stood near the truck, looking downward. Falk turned away. Next house. By evening the village looked torn open. Doors hung crooked. Furniture lay outside 2 homes. The schoolhouse windows glowed with lantern light again. Inside the Kowalski house, their mother repaired the broken chair silently. Lena placed her photograph under the lamp. He cleaned it, she said softly. Pyotr removed his coat. Forget that. Marta looked at the picture. Why would he help? Because some men hide thoughts better than others, Pyotr answered. Darkness came early. A quiet knock sounded after nightfall. Pyotr opened the door only enough to see Tomasz. He entered quickly and shut it behind him. They searched my classroom twice, Tomasz said. Their mother whispered, why come now? Because tomorrow may be worse. He lowered his voice further. Women from 3 villages north have started carrying messages. Pyotr stared at him. Women. Soldiers stop men first. Women carrying bread or cloth pass longer before questions begin. Their mother shook her head immediately. They will kill anyone they catch. Tomasz nodded. Yes. Lena looked frightened. Messages for whom? For men hiding beyond the ridge. For medicine. For names. Pyotr moved closer to the table. Why tell us? Because Falk asked about northern paths today. That means someone already crossed. Marta spoke quietly. And if the paths stay open? Then resistance lives another week, Tomasz said. Their mother turned to Marta before she answered. No. Marta had not spoken yet, but her mother already understood the silence forming inside her. Pyotr noticed too. This house survives by staying unseen, he said. Tomasz looked toward the floorboards near the stove without speaking. He knew Pyotr still kept old things hidden. Marta felt the weight of that hidden letter beneath the wood. Outside, boots crossed the road again. Voices in German passed near the fence. Everyone fell silent until the sound faded. Then Tomasz spoke once more. By winter's end, silence will choose sides whether anyone wishes it or not. No one answered. The lamp flame moved slightly, and beneath the floor Marta felt fear becoming something heavier than fear, something that would not disappear before dawn that night. The pounding began before dawn. 3 blows against the door. Hard enough to shake the wall. Marta woke instantly. Lena sat upright beside her. They came back. Another blow followed. Open, a German voice shouted. Pyotr was already crossing the room. Their mother caught his arm. Do not argue. He opened the door. Cold air rushed inside with 2 soldiers and Officer Falk behind them. You come now, Falk said. Why? Pyotr asked. Movement near the forest. Witnesses saw lanterns. We had no lantern outside. Falk looked past him into the house. That answer was not permission to stay. 2 soldiers seized Pyotr's arms. Lena cried out, Leave him. Their mother stepped forward. He has done nothing. Falk ignored her. Across the road another door opened violently. Tamash's voice rose outside. I teach children, not rebels. A rifle struck wood somewhere near the gate. Marta ran barefoot into the yard before anyone stopped her. Snow cut into her feet. Tamash was being dragged from his doorway by 2 soldiers, coat half-buttoned, face pale but upright. Ask your witness to show his face. Tamash shouted. Falk turned sharply. Your voice grows brave before sunrise. Pyotr struggled once. Who reported us? That question belongs to prisoners, Falk answered. Villagers began opening shutters. A woman called from a window, What happened? Inside, a soldier shouted. Lena ran after Marta, crying openly now. Father! Pyotr looked back only once. Take your sister inside, he said. I am not leaving. Marta answered. Falk stepped closer to her. You prefer the truck too? Their mother reached them, breath shaking. She is frightened. She should be, Falk said. Karl Brenner stood near the truck holding his rifle across his chest. He looked at Marta, then at Pyotr, but said nothing. Tamash twisted free enough to face the village. No one follows, he shouted. Do not come after us. A soldier struck his shoulder, forcing him forward. Falk pointed toward the truck. Load them. Pyotr's scarf slipped loose as he climbed the back step. Marta tried to run closer, but a warning shot cracked above the square. The sound tore through the morning air. Lena screamed. Birds lifted from the church roof. Karl lowered his rifle slowly. His jaw tightened, but he still said nothing. Falk did not even glance at him. Next person moving joins them, Falk said. Their mother fell to her knees beside the road and grabbed Pyotr's scarf where it had dropped into the mud. The truck engine started. Tamash stood in the back beside Pyotr, one hand gripping the wooden rail. He shouted again over the engine. Stay away from the barracks. The truck moved. Marta ran 2 steps before her mother caught her waist. Stop. They are taking him. And they will shoot you next. The truck disappeared down the valley road toward the old barracks below the trees. The square remained silent after the sound faded. Even Falk left without another word. By noon, no one in the village worked. Doors stayed half closed. Whispers crossed fences. At the well, one old woman said, Someone spoke. Another answered, Someone always speaks when fear grows hungry. Inside the house, Lena sat near the stove holding Pyotr's scarf. Will he return tonight? She asked. Their mother did not answer. Marta stood at the window. They had no proof. They do not need proof, her mother whispered. Near sunset, Karl crossed the road carrying firewood toward the schoolhouse. He slowed when he saw Marta outside. For a moment she thought he might speak. Instead he placed something near the fence post and kept walking. After he disappeared, Marta stepped forward. A small piece of bread wrapped in cloth. Still warm. Her mother came outside behind her. Do not trust gifts. I did not ask for it. No, her mother said, and that makes it harder. Night arrived under thick cloud. German voices echoed faintly from the schoolhouse. Lena finally slept near the stove. Their mother sat with eyes closed but not resting. Marta knelt beside the stove and lifted the loose floorboard again. Her fingers found the hidden letter. The paper felt older than memory itself. She unfolded it beneath candlelight. Inside, faded writing crossed the page in careful lines. At the bottom, another sheet had been tucked beneath it. A rough hand-drawn route. Mountain Ridge. Shepherd Path. Narrow pass beyond Frozen Creek. Her uncle's markings. A note beside one turn. Avoid lower road. Watch Pine Ridge. Marta stared at the lines. Pyotr had hidden more than memory. Her mother opened her eyes. What are you holding? The old letter. Put it back. There is a route here. Her mother stood immediately. Then hide it deeper. He kept this for a reason. He kept it because men die when paper survives. Marta looked again at the path. The line led north beyond the valley, exactly where Tomasz once looked when soldiers asked about trails. Lena stirred in sleep. Outside, Boots crossed the road again. Marta folded the paper carefully. They took him because someone already fears these paths, she whispered. Her mother's voice broke. They took him because war chooses fathers first. Marta placed Pyotr's scarf beside the candle and held the letter in both hands while the house listened to distant engines below the valley through darkness. Marta left before dawn while the house still breathed in silence. Her mother woke as the door opened. Where are you going? To the upper ridge. No. I have the route. Her mother rose quickly. That route buried one brother already. It may bring father back. Lena stirred under the blanket. Marta. Marta crossed back, touched her sister's hair, then wrapped Pyotr's scarf tighter around her neck. If soldiers ask, say nothing. Her mother caught her wrist. They will search again. They search even when we obey. Snow reached her ankles once she entered the forest. The old letter stayed hidden inside her coat. The climb took an hour through pine shadow and broken stone. At the ridge she saw the abandoned shepherd hut Tomasz once described. Roof bent, chimney cracked, smoke rising anyway. Someone was inside. A woman stepped out holding a rifle before Marta reached the door. Gray hair. Hard eyes. Thick gloves. Stop there, the woman said. I came from the valley. Many do. Few should. Marta slowly removed the folded letter. This belonged to Pyotr Kowalski's brother. The woman studied it. Pyotr's daughter? Yes. You climbed alone? Yes. The woman lowered the rifle slightly. I am Zofia. Inside the hut 3 other women turned from a rough table. One tall, broad-shouldered woman tied cloth around ammunition boxes. One younger woman sharpened a knife quietly. Another, thin and pale, packed medicine into bread sacks. Zofia closed the door. Helena, she said, nodding toward the tall woman. Anya. Sophia. Helena looked at Marta's boots. Village girl? Marta answered, until yesterday. Anya gave a short breath that almost sounded like laughter. That changes fast. Sophia offered a cup of warm water. You came because of the arrests? They took Pyotr and Tomasz. Zofia nodded once, as if expecting it. They took my husband in autumn, she said. They never returned him. Helena lifted a blanket, revealing rifles beneath. Tonight these go north. Marta stared at them. You carry weapons? We carry whatever men below cannot keep, Helena answered. Zofia pointed toward the floor. Sit. Listen first. Marta sat. Below the hut, wind moved through pine branches. Zofia unfolded a rough cloth map. German patrol crosses Lower Bridge every 2 hours. Schoolhouse guards watch road lamps. Upper trail remains clear unless snow falls hard. Anya handed Marta a small wrapped packet. Medicine. For whom? Marta asked. For whoever still bleeds after last week. Sophia added quietly, and they always bleed. Marta looked at the rifles again. You trust me quickly? We do not, Zofia answered. But fear in your face matches truth. Night came before they moved. Each woman covered supplies beneath blankets tied like common bundles. Helena handed Marta a narrow packet heavier than medicine. Ammunition, she said. Marta nearly dropped it. I never carried bullets. Then start carefully. They left the hut one by one. Snow reflected enough moonlight to show the path. The stone trail narrowed above a frozen drop. Below, distant truck lights moved through the valley road. Marta's breathing turned sharp. Zofia looked back. Slow breath. If I slip. You do not slip. A burst of gunfire sounded far below. Marta froze. The ammunition shifted in her arms. Helena caught her elbow instantly. Hold steady. Another shot echoed. Sophia whispered, barracks direction. Marta's throat tightened. Father. Sophia faced her directly. Fear is useful. Panic is deadly. They continued. At a broken ridge they met two shadowed men waiting beside rocks. One took Helena's rifles. The other opened Marta's bundle. Good, he whispered. We lost half yesterday. Marta asked, from the valley barracks? The man nodded. 2 prisoners arrived there before sunrise. Her heart struck hard. Did you see them? No names. Sophia touched Marta's shoulder. Questions later. On the return path dawn began to pale the eastern sky. Back at the hut, Helena removed her gloves slowly. My brother died carrying bread through this pass. Anya sat near the stove. My husband disappeared after giving 1 map. Sophia looked into the fire. They shot my mother beside the church in Brzeg. Marta listened without speaking. Sophia placed another folded cloth beside her. You climbed here frightened, she said. You climb again tonight stronger. Marta looked at the women, at the rifles, at the same mountains her father once crossed only as a farmer. What if they search my house again? They will, Sophia answered. What if they ask where I go? Helena gave a tired smile. Then learn to answer like winter. Cold and empty. Below the ridge, church bells faintly reached the snowline, and Marta understood the mountain no longer felt distant from war. Snow fell lightly before dusk, covering footprints almost as quickly as they formed. Inside the shepherd hut, Sophia tied medicine jars inside rough cloth. Tonight the lower pass is watched, she said. Use the narrow ridge above the frozen creek. Helena handed Marta a wood bundle already hollowed inside. Medicine underneath. Firewood above. Marta checked the wrapping. If they stop me? Say your mother needs heat, Helena answered. Anya looked toward the door. And if Falk himself asks questions, speak less than truth but more than fear. Sophia tightened Marta's scarf. Your hands shake. They always do before leaving, Marta said. Sophia opened the door. But shaking means you still understand danger. The path down the ridge felt narrower than before. Snow clung to branches, and the frozen creek below reflected pale moonlight. Marta heard voices before she saw lanterns. German patrol. She dropped behind frozen brush and lowered the bundle carefully. Boots approached through crusted snow. Officer Falk's voice came first. Tracks here. Another soldier answered, Old ones, sir. No, Falk said. Fresh. Marta pressed herself lower, barely breathing. The patrol stopped only a few steps away. Karl Brenner stood nearest the brush line. His rifle pointed toward the ridge where she hid. For several long seconds he looked directly into the branches. Marta felt her pulse hammering so loudly she feared they would hear it. Falk stepped beside him. What is there? Karl did not answer immediately. Falk repeated, sharper this time, Brenner. Karl kept his eyes on the brush. Then he said, only wind-moving branches. Falk studied the same darkness. Snow shifted under his boots. You hesitate too much lately. The branch moved when the wind turned, sir. Falk looked toward the creek instead. Move. The patrol continued downhill. Only after the last boot step faded did Marta release air from her chest. Her hands trembled harder now. She waited another full minute before crawling out. The medicine remained dry beneath the wood. At the ridge crossing, 2 resistance runners took the bundle without words. One whispered, barracks guards doubled tonight. Marta asked, any prisoners moved? Not moved. Still below. She nodded and turned back before dawn touched the valley. When she entered home, her mother stood awake beside the stove. You smell of snow and fear, her mother said. I met a patrol. Lena sat up from the bench. Did they see you? Marta removed wet gloves slowly. One did. Their mother froze. And? He looked away. Lena frowned. Why? Marta did not answer immediately, because she did not fully understand it herself. By afternoon, Falk ordered villagers near the square again. 2 soldiers searched the barns while another counted goats. Karl stood near the church wall, expression empty. Falk addressed the crowd. Someone crossed the upper ridge last night. No one moved. He pointed toward Tomasz's empty house. The next hidden trail becomes 10 arrests. An old woman muttered, "You arrest before asking anyway." A rifle lifted toward her, but Falk raised one hand to stop it. He looked across every face until his eyes reached Marta. "You were awake late." She answered calmly, "My mother coughed all night." Did the coughing reach the forest? Lena grabbed their mother's hand again. Marta forced herself not to look toward Carl. It reached only our walls. Falk stepped closer, then turned away. "Continue searches." At sunset, Lena walked to the church wall carrying an empty bucket. She often waited there because soldiers rarely watch children closely. When she returned, a wrapped cloth lay inside the bucket. Fresh. Their mother stared at it. "Who gave this?" "No one," Lena whispered. "It was beside the wall." Marta unfolded the cloth. A German ration piece. Still warm enough to suggest recent hands. She looked toward the schoolhouse windows. Lena spoke softly. "The same place as before." Their mother's voice hardened. "Throw it away." Lena looked shocked. "Why?" "Because kindness from armed men arrives carrying danger." Marta broke the bread into 3 pieces anyway. If poison were intended, it would not be hidden. They ate silently. That same night below the valley, damp stone walls held cold deeper than winter. Pyotr sat against the barracks wall, wrists bruised. From the next room came the sound of Tomasz being struck again. A guard shouted in German. Then Tomasz coughed hard. Pyotr closed his eyes. Another blow landed. Finally Tomasz's voice came through the wall, weak but clear. "I know no names." The guard answered with another strike. Pyotr spoke toward the stones. "Save breath." A pause followed. Then Tomasz answered through pain, "Your daughter will not stay still." Pyotr looked toward the ceiling. "That is what frightens me. You raised courage. I raised daughters, not fighters." Boots crossed outside the cell. A bolt slid open. Carl entered carrying water. He set the bucket down without looking directly at them. Pyotr studied him carefully. "You stood at the truck that morning." Carl kept his voice low. "I stand where ordered." Tomasz laughed once, bitterly. "But not always looking where ordered." Carl finally looked at Pyotr. "There are eyes everywhere here." Pyotr leaned forward despite the chains. "If she reaches the mountains." Carl interrupted quietly. "Then pray snow keeps her hidden." He left before either man answered. Back in the village, Marta stood at the window holding the bread cloth while Boots crossed distant snow, and trust felt heavier than fear tonight. Wind pushed hard against the shepherd hut while Zofia spread a hand-drawn sketch across the table. "The fuel drums stay behind the barracks," she said. "Guard shift changes after midnight." Helena checked wire cutters. 2 guards near the horse shed. 1 near the rear gate. Sophia wrapped cloth around glass bottles. "And if the truck patrol returns early?" "Then we move faster," Sophia answered. Marta studied the sketch. The barracks sat below the valley exactly where the road curved near frozen trees. "My father is inside," she said. Sophia looked at her directly. "That is why you stay cold." "I can do this." Helena handed her a small oil lamp protected by metal sides. "You pull first. Light only when called." Anya stood near the door with rifles ready for retreat. "No heroics," Anya warned. "Fire burns without choosing sides." Marta tucked Pyotr's scarf beneath her coat. "I only need one chance." They moved after midnight. Snow softened their steps until the barracks appeared through trees, dark walls. 1 lantern near the entrance, truck shadows beside stacked crates. From inside came faint voices. A guard coughed near the horse shed. Sophia pointed. Sophia slipped left first, carrying loose stones. Helena dropped low near the rear fence and began cutting wire slowly. Metal clicked once. Marta's breath caught. No shout followed. Sophia threw the first stone toward the far stable. A horse kicked instantly. Then another noise followed, wood falling. The nearest guard turned. What was that? He moved toward the shed. Helena opened enough fence for 1 body. "Now," she whispered. Marta crawled through and landed behind stacked fuel drums. The smell of oil hit immediately. Zofia passed her a cloth bundle. Quick! Marta soaked the cloth and dragged fuel across crate edges exactly as instructed. Her hands shook so badly the first knot slipped. She forced herself again. Inside the barracks someone shouted in pain. A voice she knew answered through coughing. Tomasz. She froze for half a second. Zofia hissed, "Keep moving." Marta spread fuel toward the truck wheels. Another horse cried out louder this time. A second guard ran toward Sofia's noise. Helena reached the crates. Enough! Marta lifted the lamp. Her fingers trembled so violently the flame nearly died. Then boots struck snow behind them. Officer Falk emerged from the rear corners sooner than expected. "Who is there?" His pistol rose instantly. Gunfire cracked before Marta could move. The lamp fell but stayed lit. Helena shoved Marta behind a crate. Down! Another shot struck wood inches above them. Zofia fired back from the fence line. Sophia shouted from the shed, "Now!" At the front yard, Karl Brenner appeared with 2 soldiers running behind him. Falk pointed toward the crates. "There!" Karl raised his rifle. For one suspended second Marta saw him clearly under lantern light. Then he fired high above the fence. "Movement near the north trees," he shouted. The 2 soldiers beside him turned toward the wrong direction and fired into darkness. Falk swore and moved forward alone. Helena kicked the fallen lamp directly into the fuel line. Fire raced instantly beneath the crates. The first drum exploded with a sound that shook the snow. Flames climbed the truck side. A second blast shattered the rear window of the barracks. Prisoners inside began shouting, "Open it!" Tomasz's voice roared through smoke. Zofia cut toward the side door while Helena dragged Marta upright. "Move!" But Marta pulled free. "My father!" The barracks door burst open under pressure from inside. Smoke poured out. 2 prisoners stumbled through. Tomasz emerged first, half dragging another man. His face was bruised, coat torn, eyes burning. "Marta!" he shouted when he saw her. Behind him Pyotr appeared through smoke, helping an older prisoner stand. For one heartbeat relief struck harder than fear. Then Falk turned and fired. The bullet hit Pyotr high in the chest. He staggered but did not fall immediately. Marta screamed, "Father!" Pyotr pushed the older prisoner forward instead of himself. "Go!" he shouted at Tomasz. Karl fired again, high, deliberately toward the roof beam. "Rear wall!" he shouted falsely. "They are behind the rear wall." More soldiers ran the wrong direction. Flames reached the second truck. Another explosion tore through the yard. Part of the roof collapsed inward. Tomasz tried reaching Pyotr, but burning wood crashed between them. Pyotr looked through the smoke directly at Marta. His voice came once, broken but clear. "Marta!" The roof beam dropped. Fire swallowed the doorway. Marta lunged forward, but Helena caught her around the waist. "No! He is there. He is gone." Tomasz fell to one knee, coughing violently, trying to rise again. Zofia fired twice toward advancing soldiers. "Retreat now!" Karl shouted in German toward Falk. "The north fence is broken." Again soldiers turned away. Falk realized too late. His eyes locked briefly with Karl's, suspicion flashing hard. Then another drum exploded beside them. Helena dragged Tomasz toward the fence while Zofia covered them from the stable wall. Marta fought every step backward. Smoke blinded everything except flame. Pyotr's shape disappeared entirely behind falling timber. They crossed the fence just before the third explosion threw burning debris into the yard. In the trees, Anya waited with blankets and rifles. Tomasz collapsed against a trunk. "He pushed Jan first," Tomasz said through coughing. "He pushed another man first." Marta dropped to her knees in snow. The fire reflected in her tears and on Pyotr's scarf still tied beneath her coat. Below them, the barracks burned brighter than dawn. German shouting filled the valley. Falk's voice rose above all others, furious and sharp. Zofia looked toward Karl still near the flames. "He chose," she said quietly. Marta stared at the burning roof. "No," she whispered. "My father chose first." Tomasz closed his eyes, shaking. He saved a stranger while dying. Snow began falling harder, landing on sparks drifting upward, while Marta understood the mountain had taken her fear and returned something far heavier. The fire below the valley burned through most of the night. From the shepherd hut, Marta watched smoke rise while Tomasz sat near the wall, coughing into folded cloth. Zofia cleaned a rifle beside the stove. Falk will search every ridge by daylight, Helena said. Anya checked the remaining ammunition. Then we leave before light. Marta stood immediately. No. Zofia looked up. No. My mother and Lena are still there. Tomasz lifted his head. The village will be searched first. That is why I go down. Helena stepped closer. He wants exactly that. Marta untied Piotr's scarf and wrapped it tighter again. He already took what he wanted. Silence held for a moment. Then Tomasz rose despite pain. There is a side lane behind the church, he said. Old grain path. Soldiers forget it because carts stopped using it years ago. Zofia nodded slowly. We do not send one woman. We all go, Marta answered. Before dawn they moved. Captured rifles rested beneath blankets again, but no one hid their purpose now. Snow had stopped. The valley looked pale and wounded. Near the first tree line they saw smoke from 2 village roofs. Marta whispered, they burned houses. Tomasz looked ahead grimly. To ask questions faster. At the lower ridge, Karl waited beside a stalled truck near the road bend. His coat was open, hands black with engine grease. Helena raised her rifle instantly. Karl lifted both hands. The engine will not start, he said quietly. Zofia kept her rifle aimed. You expect thanks? I expect Falk in 10 minutes. Marta stepped forward. My family. Locked inside your house with others nearby. Tomasz stared at him. Why stay? Karl looked toward the smoking valley. Because yesterday became impossible to ignore. Anya muttered, a late conscience. Karl accepted the words without reply. Zofia lowered the rifle only slightly. Then walk ahead. If you lie, you fall first. They entered through the grain path behind the church wall. Village doors were broken open. 2 barns still smoldered. A dead horse lay near the square. From inside one cellar an old farmer whispered, Marta? She recognized his voice. Stay hidden, she told him. Another door opened quietly. 2 women emerged carrying kitchen knives. Helena handed one a rifle. Then hold it with both hands. The village was no longer silent. It was waiting. Near Marta's house, German voices came from the front room. Falk stood outside speaking to 2 soldiers. Search the loft again. His arm was bandaged from the barracks fire. One soldier answered, no one there, sir. Inside the house Lena suddenly shouted, do not touch that. Marta's chest tightened. She moved before anyone stopped her. Marta! Tomasz whispered sharply. Too late. She crossed the side yard and fired once into the air above Falk's shoulder. All heads turned. Falk spun immediately and aimed back. So the mountain sends daughters now, he said. Her mother pushed Lena down behind the doorway inside. Marta kept the rifle steady though her hands burned. Let them go. Falk smiled coldly. You burned soldiers alive. You burned homes first. Behind him, villagers began emerging from alleys, from barns, from behind broken fences. Helena and Anya took positions near the church wall. Zofia moved behind the well. Tomasz guided 3 men carrying farm tools into cover. Karl appeared behind Falk's last truck. He struck the engine housing with metal and tore loose a fuel line. One soldier shouted, the truck! Falk did not turn. His pistol remained fixed on Marta. You should have stayed frightened. Marta answered, I tried. He fired first. The bullet struck the fence beside her shoulder. At the same second Zofia fired from the church wall. Falk staggered once and dropped beside the road. The square exploded into gunfire and shouting. One German soldier fled toward the truck but slipped on leaking fuel. Karl struck another with his rifle but before the man reached cover. Helena fired twice and forced the remaining soldiers toward the well. Villagers rushed forward together. The fight lasted less than a minute because most of the fear had already burned away during the night. When silence returned, smoke drifted across the church bell. Lena ran from the doorway and threw both arms around Marta. "You came back." Their mother followed, trembling but standing. "I told her you would." Marta lowered the rifle slowly. Tomasz approached the fallen road where Falk lay motionless. "He searched for obedience," Tomasz said. "He found memory instead." Karl stood near the disabled truck, breathing hard. A villager asked, "What about him?" No one answered immediately. Zofia looked at Karl. "He opened one road." Karl stared at the ground. "One road does not return the dead." "No," Marta said quietly, "but it stopped more dying today." Half the village still smoked. Windows were shattered. The schoolhouse roof had collapsed at one corner. But no German voice remained in the square. Marta reached into her coat and unfolded the old letter once more. The paper shook in wind beside Pyotr's scarf. Lena touched the faded markings. Was this his? Yes. Their mother looked toward the mountain ridge where dawn light finally touched snow. He kept a road hidden for years. Marta folded the letter carefully. And now everyone knows where courage began. Smoke lifted slowly into pale morning while the church bell rang once, and no one in the valley looked away anymore.